Hey everybody, and welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. Today we're going to be installing cruise control stock onto our E46s. There are some benefits to having this. RevMatch can go through and tune a bunch of really cool things that use this stock versus some of the steering wheel controls. And we are also going to be putting in the M3 instrument clusters. The M3 instrument clusters are like super simple, so we won't be going over that as much. This right here is going to be a little bit more complicated. I actually haven't installed this quite just yet, so I'm hoping that my idea works. I guess we'll find out. I'm going to do this one tonight, and then I'll be showing how to do my wife's car. And that way I know that I'm giving you guys correct information. Before we get into today's video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Like if you enjoy this type of content. Also make sure to check us out on Instagram, Tenza_Motorsports. Do a lot of posting, showing off stuff that isn't quite on the channel yet, so you get a little bit of a preview, some of the parts that we get, and you'll also see other projects that don't quite make it to the channel. These cruise control stocks, in my opinion, is one of the best designed, engineered piece of technology ever created for the automobile, and the fact that it's not on every single vehicle in some form as a stock, in my opinion, is not only kind of ridiculous because it's so simple, it's dangerous. You're driving around, let's just say that your buddy's like, hey, hell, I gotta take my car somewhere or something like that. So basically you're driving somebody else's vehicle that you're not familiar with. You're driving around, you've got buttons that are spread out. Some of them are on the steering wheel, some of them are on our stock, some of them are on the dash. Some of them have a mixture of those placements. So you're turning it on the dash and then pecking around on the steering wheel while you're doing 55, 60, 70 miles an hour down a highway. That's ridiculous. This right here, as soon as you get above 25 miles an hour, like most cruise controls, pull it towards you. You have now turned it on and set it at the same time. You want to go faster, you push away from you, kind of speeding up. You want to slow down, you pull towards you, and slow down. Press and hold, it'll speed up until you let go, and then it holds that speed. Same thing with going slower. If you press the button on the end of the stock, it goes back. That's your resume button. That is the easiest thing, and you just, as you're driving, you just flick it with your hand. I had this on my 1 Series, and it was so convenient and so nice to use, I almost drove with it, especially if you're not trying to drive sporty, if you're just trying to get some decent gas mileage, and you're not trying to be a hooligan or anything like that. It's amazing to have this cruise control stock. But that's not the only reason why we're doing it on these cars. RevMatch can actually go into this and he can program it so you can do like rolling launch control. So you'll be driving, you'll hold this back and then you'll let go and you take off. He can turn the burble tunes and stuff on and off. I don't know all of what we're gonna be doing. He's got a whole list of crazy things he can get in and do that can completely customize your car, so don't quote me on some of this stuff, but we're really excited for it. The other thing is because we've got aftermarket steering wheels, you no longer have cruise control because it used to be on the steering wheel. This gives it back to you. Now you can buy just the stock. In my opinion, it's better to buy it like this. The stocks by themselves, even used, cost just as much as I paid for one of these. So I think I picked up this one for 80 and the other one was like 90 bucks. So they average just under $100. What's nice about this is if you've got a stock, so like this one here, if this stock is in better condition than the one that was in the car or in worse condition, you can swap them out. So I'm actually gonna go show on the workbench right now. We'll go over there and I'll show you how to swap some of these stocks out so you make sure that, you know, between this one and your old one, you're kind of like Frankensteining them together and make sure that you've got the nicer parts, make one good one out of everything to get put back on the car. So let's go over to the workbench and then we'll also go over this wire harness right here and what we're planning on doing with this. So here is my old one and here is the new one. And like I said, you can actually buy just this stock and add it. And for me, it made a little bit more sense to just get a whole unit, and then again, we'll take both of these and we'll make one good one with the parts. So it looks like this stock here might be a little bit nicer on this one. This one. So this is a bit of a bad example because this is actually in really good condition. Both of these are in really good condition. You can still see everything. There's nothing like rubbed off. On my race car, this stock isn't actually even used, so I might just delete that one. But let's go over to the other one that I purchased. I didn't even realize this, but here's the other one. This is for my wife's car. Well, it doesn't matter which car it's for, but this is the other one I've got. And if you see here, there's no button on the end. This BC button, it doesn't exist. So what can we do? Flip this around, and literally just like a Lego set, I'll squeeze these two little tabs, and we will pull this one out of the back of this and swap it with the other one. So here is the old stock, and then I'll pull the one off of this other one. Then here is the stock with the button, and I will just slide this into here. And there you go. Now I've got two of them with that button on the end. I've said this before, especially when we were building that M3 wagon, a lot of the E46 stuff is, it feels like Legos. This feels like a Lego set. I just swap parts real quick. All these plugs are the same, and we'll be just plugging them in. The entire reason why I wanted to make a video on this, besides showing off all the rev match stuff, because I'm really excited about that, is this wire harness right here. So this one, I'm sure you've seen before if you pull the steering wheels off. This goes to your cruise control. So this goes here, and then it plugs into your cruise control. Now, because the cruise control is no longer here, it is now here, we aren't going to be plugging this in. We'll be using these plugs and running them into this one here. I don't know if you can see that, it's a little bit harder to see, but there is a plug right there. So it'll fit in there something like this. Now, right off the bat, you can see, oh no, it doesn't fit in there because there's an extra ear on this. So we'll be removing that ear. Let's grab a pair of side cuts here. We'll take this ear off. Just make sure you get it as flush as possible. Now this should allow us to plug that in. All right, so now we've got the wires plugged in, but what do we do about these here? This is where it gets complicated, and I'll do all the footwork for you as long as the colors match up. Where is this getting all of its signal and power from? Well, it's not the one that goes to these, because these are individual. That's why I was able to pull them apart and replace them. It's not coming from this stock either. There's only one plug that goes into the bottom. There are 9 pins. You flip this over, there's 10 here, but I'm assuming either a power or a ground got used twice to get the pins out here. So we need to trace where these are here and then where they are down here. Unfortunately, when this is plugged in up here, these wires do not have a corresponding color with these. They are different colors. I have already identified roughly which ones they are, and I will have either a write-up right here or a diagram, something. And let me just show you real quick how to do this if you're not gonna look at my stuff and you have to do it all on your own. Let me show you what to do. Voltmeter, these can be purchased for as cheap as 10 bucks. So we're gonna go here to a continuity test, which is the one that's got the sound emblem on it here. And what that does is when you get continuity, you'll hear it beep. With this plugged in, I'm going to go over here to these pins, and I'm going to select one of them, and then I'll start going through these wires. Bottom right, looking at the harness this way, the bottom right pin, so there's a line of 5, the bottom right pin goes to red. But that pin, the wire that goes to that pin is not red. So what we'll do is we'll go red, and I'll write that down, and then I'll do whatever color this ends up being. You gotta go to the car to do that side. Once I find out what 4 these are, what we'll be doing is this. Taking the harness and actually disassembling it. We'll come to the side of this plug. So these holes facing you come to the side of the plug, and you can actually pop this open. This will then open towards you. Now inside these, this is very difficult to show on camera because they're itty bitty tiny, and I'm not gonna do them all right here because I need to see what order they're in. But we'll just do this red one real quick here. So this first one here, you'll push down on it with the pick tool, and while you're pushing down on that, you'll pull the wire at the same time. Don't pull too hard, obviously, you don't want to rip it out. So I pushed down on that, and I pulled it back, and now it's to another position because it'll lock again. Push it just slightly further down, and there you go. You can slide that out. And if I can get, let's see if I can show you what this looks like. Sorry, again, on camera, this kind of sucks. This is what it looks like, and you can see there's a little tiny shape right there, and that's what you'll be pushing on. And you'll push on it in that hole, and then it'll slide down and you'll push on it like right there. This is the most complicated part of this whole process. Once you've identified these wires here, we'll go back into the car and we'll actually do the same thing on the other side. And this harness here, the whole thing, you don't need it. We're actually going to disassemble it and just keep this white piece. So none of these wires will be used. We're just using them right now to figure out which ones they are. Again, sorry this is complicated. This will be the worst part of the whole thing, and the only thing you need to do this is a pick tool. So basically, to make this less complicated, there's 9 wires going in here. We're going to identify which ones we're using. We'll steal this clip. We'll pull those 4 out, put them back into this, and then instead of being plugged into there, they'd go over here. All right, here we are in my wife's car. I just finished wiring up mine, and it looks like it worked. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this real quick. So we're going to remove this steering wheel. If you've got a normal steering wheel, you would remove the airbag. I'm not going to show how to do that because I don't have any of those. From here, I'm going to remove these 6 bolts, and then there is the 16 millimeter that is holding your steering wheel or your hub to the column. All right, once we've removed the bottom and the top, I believe these are T25s. Yep, so we'll take these T25s out. This is now ready to come out, so we'll pull it straight towards us. And then that exposes these harnesses here. So I'll just release the clips to get those out. And this is the plug we'll be playing with. And I have my notes here, and we'll see if this is the same colors. If it's the same colors, we'll hook it up the same way as the other car. And I already have diagrams and readouts for you guys, which is nice. So let's see here. Purple, yellow, white, red, blue, black, and brown, black. So these 4 wires right here need to go into our plug with these facing towards us, just like this. So the way to get these ones out of here is to come in from the side on this, very similar to that little white plug that we've been using, and you'll pull that back. Oh, that one looks, okay, well, this one's broken, but the one in my race car didn't do that. And now we've got access to the pins. So we're gonna pull out the purple, yellow. And what I'm doing here is I'm holding the plug, and then with this finger, I'm giving it a little bit of tension. I'm pulling on a little bit. You'll push down on the clip. It went from this one to the next one. You'll push it again. And now we've got this guy out. I'm going to remove the wires out of this real quick. I forgot to do that. But you'll want to do these one at a time. You don't want to just pull everything out because then it makes it a bit of a mess. So there's our red, and red goes to purple, yellow. So now we'll plug in the purple, yellow, and it clicks right in, just like that. Now we'll pull out our white and replace it with the white and the red. So your harness will now look like this. Let's go grab the new unit. All right, so a bit of a hiccup. This is not working on this car, but this one's actually from my race car. I just moved it over. It doesn't matter which one goes in which car. And this same layout worked on my race car, so it could be a number of things. This car could have a communication issue to the transmission. If it does, then it won't let the cruise control turn on. I'm gonna pull this out, and then I'm gonna put mine from my race car into here and see if maybe it's a burnt out bulb or something on this instrument cluster. Try to figure out what is going on with it. All right, so here's what's going on with my wife's car. Couldn't get the cruise control to turn on. Wouldn't show right there. Go and scan it with our launch scan tool. And I don't know if you can see right there, it says plausibility, signal, brake light switch. So if your brake light switch isn't functioning properly, your cruise control doesn't turn on. And the reason for that is when you hit your brake, you turn your cruise control off. So if it thinks the brake is being pressed all the time, or the switch isn't seeing what's going on, it'll just keep your cruise control off all the time. Now, the M3 instrument cluster is a direct plug and play, direct swap. Harnesses and everything, it just plugs right in. So this is what you do. These 2 screws right here, there's gonna be 1 and 2, they'll be up here. Sometimes those are a T2025. Sometimes they are a Phillips. You'll pull the instrument cluster forward and then just kind of to the side. It was harder on this car because of these gauges. If you're just doing the instrument cluster or just doing this, obviously they can be done independently, but to pull this out, it's obviously easier with the steering wheel off. So the hardest thing about doing these instrument clusters is actually releasing these plugs. I'll see if I can show how to do it one-handed with the camera here. But there's a little black clip and there is a white piece that sticks up and holds that. So I'll push down on that white piece and then this black band should slide up just like that. I'll show you real quick what that looks like. You see it comes back like this and clicks. And so all you're doing is pushing down on that white piece and pulling that band up at the same time. Put it on the new one and then it will automatically start to roll back and this just kind of locks itself in. Same thing on the other one. The other one's a little bit bigger, but it's the same concept. Okay, here it is in the car. Looks like we've got our lights over here on and everything looks to be functioning for the most part. Had the same lights on, so it's not seeing the fuel because we got a fuel cell. This door is open. We do have this right here, which is for the SMG, which RevMatch will be coding out. Now, I don't know how much of this is going to function properly beforehand, but he's going to go through and make sure that all the lights that I don't need are going to be shut off. So like, I think this one was a convertible. So if that light would have been on, he's going to make sure that we take care of a bunch of that and then he can set the RPM lights. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it's actually functioning more than I thought it would because I didn't think that those lights would be on at all. I thought those would just be completely off. So yeah, really excited about that. That is a take your old one out, put your new one in, and get a RevMatch tune. Pretty simple with that guy. All right, so the instrument clusters and the cruise control stalks are on both vehicles. We're gonna go show off my car because her car is fighting the cruise control turning on and off because of the brake sensor, brake switch. Turn on some lights, and I will show that this does turn on. There you go. And so it does work. I didn't want to be like, oh, this is how it works, and then not show it turning on and off, but cruise control does turn on and off. In part 2, we'll do a part 2. We'll get to show off the rolling launch control, some of the features that this does and that this instrument cluster does as well. RevMatch has tuned this since putting it in, so it's actually all set up and ready to go, and I'll go over all of the process of how simple it is to have him get hooked up with the computer and get it all set up. So thanks everybody so much for watching. Any comments or questions down in the comment section below. We will see everybody in the next video.
Bam!